What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we got some interesting news when it comes to undefeated, unified, WBC franchise champion, WBO, IBF, WBA, Ring Magazine, lightweight world champion, superstar boxer Teofimo Lopez, and a true showdown and undisputed showdown with undefeated WBC lightweight world champion superstar boxer Devin the Dream Haney. As Teofimo Lopez, he chose to go the route of undefeated Australian superstar title contender lightweight George Kambosos Jr., who is his IBF mandatory challenger, in which Teofimo Lopez says that he had no choice but to fight George Kambosos Jr., who was his IBF mandatory, because he stated that the IBF informed him that if he did indeed go in a different direction, they would strip him of the title. Well, unfortunately for Teofimo Lopez, that proves not to be true, and the IBF lets it be known that they gave him an option to have an interim fight and not have to fight George Kambosos Jr. And that legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter Bob Arum, he also informed Teofimo Lopez that there could be other big fights out there for the minimum that he's looking for. Because we have interesting news. Teofimo Lopez, should he have lost to VASIL Lomachenko in his unification showdown, because he was the IBF he was the IBF champion after he beat Richard Comey. After he knocked out Richard Comey and became the IBF champion, it was a unification bout, right? And this showed VASIL Lomachenko, 3-division world champion, who was the unified lightweight world champion. He held the WBA, the WBO, the franchise WBC belt, and the Ring Magazine. He wasn't officially the WBC champion because he vacated that belt after he beat Luke Campbell for the vacant WBC belt that was vacated by 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Mikey Garcia. He and Luke Campbell, Olympic gold medalist, British lightweight title contender superstar, they fought for the vacant WBC title in August. Devin Haney was officially slated to fight Luke Campbell for that vacant WBC title, but Lomachenko petitioned to be in that position. He got the position over Devin Haney. He was supposed to fight Devin Haney. Devin Haney fought to be the mandatory for that title. So Devin Haney was slated to fight the winner. And then VASIL Lomachenko petitioned the WBC to be franchised, so that way he didn't have to fight Devin Haney. That's how that unfolded. With that being said, Teofimo Lopez fought VASIL Lomachenko in a unification bout. In this unification bout, he won. He was stated to make, if he lost the fight, because he was the champion, if he lost the fight, there moving forward, he would have had a minimum of $150,000 from Top Rank and ESPN. That would have been his minimum purse moving forward, okay? If he won the fight, if he lost going into the fight, he was making a minimum of $150,000. If he lost the fight, being that he was a champion, he would have made a minimum of $500,000. If he won the fight, he would make a minimum of $1.2 million. Okay, $1.25 million, right? So now, obviously, he won the fight. So his minimum is $1.25 million. So now he has chose, and I use those words precisely because he's chose, according to the IBF and according to Bob Arum, he chose George Kambosos Jr. Bob Arum stated that this is not a big fight, and because he chose this route, they would much rather allow him to go to a purse bid where he could make the minimum. And get this, he petitioned to get his minimum, according to his manager, the 1.25. But when it came to Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez stated that he needed $10 million. Now, Devin Haney, father, trainer, and manager, Bill Haney, he was negotiating with Teofimo Lopez, father, trainer, and manager, Teofimo Lopez Sr., and they came to agreement that Bill Haney said, what about if I give you $4 million? I could get $4 million from DAZN. That would be the highest payday in your career. right? And that would be far more than your minimum of 1.25. Teofimo Lopez Sr. said, we'll fight for $4 million. But if we could get $10 million to fight George Kambosos, we're going to go the route of fighting George Kambosos for $10 million. Well, get this. They didn't even look to get $10 million. Now, they did state that if the fight took place in Australia, they were supposed to be a venue that holds 60,000 fans, and they would be able to make big money, introduce their brand to a whole different demographic of fans. But that's not the case. They're going to fight George Kambosos Jr. in the bubble in Las Vegas. And get this, they asked their manager, Teofimo Lopez's manager, asked Top Rank for they want the minimum, okay? So, this is what Teofimo Lopez McWater, he's placing the blame on, Top Rank and Bob Arum, because he says that they could have negotiated a bigger fight, right? But Teofimo Lopez, and Top Rank and his manager, they went to Top Rank and they asked Top Rank to get them 1.25 for Kambosos. So they never even petitioned and asked Top Rank to get them $10 million because they knew from the jump Top Rank wasn't going to offer that amount of money for a fight of this magnitude, because Bob Arum doesn't view it in high regard, and neither does ESPN. And so with that said, they just chose to go the route of George Kambosos Jr. And so Bob Arum is saying, when you choose a fight, a low-level fight, an easy-touch fight, this is what you get. This is what Bob Arum had to say, okay? Bob Arum says, Arum said if Lopez Kambosos lands on a different platform, he says the world hasn't ended. Wow. He said Top Rank takes, he said, what about ESPN position? The network through is through in considerable, they're not behind this fight, right? They want to build Lopez into an attraction. So maybe if he goes to on another platform, he could garner their fan base, and then he could bring their fan base, because we have another 3.5 years with Teofimo Lopez under contract. So if another platform, they have DAZN, PBC, as other platforms mentioned that could bid for the fight on February 18th. And Bob Arum is saying if he lands on that platform, that's okay, because maybe this is a low-level fight, and maybe he attracts some of their fan base from DAZN and PBC or Fox, and he brings them back to here because we still have him under contract for another 3.5 years. So he'll be right back here, is what Bob Arum is saying. But ESPN and Top Rank are not behind a fight of this magnitude, right? Bob Arum states that this is what Bob Arum had to say. So Bob Arum says that he says that if this fight was a sizzling fight, this is what Bob Arum had to say, right? He says a gutty Arum said, but again, he says that doesn't mean that he is an elite fighter, which he says Teofimo Lopez is not fighting an elite fighter in George Kambosos Jr., right? He said, now, this is what Bob Arum had to say. Now, if he would have made a real sizzling matchup, like a Ryan Garcia fight, like a Tank Davis, or like a Devin Haney fight, then we would have picked it up. So Bob Arum is letting it be known that Teofimo Lopez chose to go the route of fighting George Kambosos Jr. Over Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, or Gervonta Tank Davis, right? And like I said, Bob Arum says that, George Kambosos Jr. is not like the guy. He says he lost money on a fight, on a previous fight that was staged, with a Thai guy. He says that a Thai guy, and he lost money on his fight with a Thai guy, and that factored into him negotiating this fight because he doesn't view George Kambosos Jr. in high regard. Okay, he says George Kambosos Jr. is not like that Thai guy that we had was a complete not good fighter. He used other words. I'm paraphrasing. He's a pretty decent fighter. He says, but he's not going to bring in, the fans that we need for the money that Teofimo Lopez is looking for, essentially. Okay, I'm paraphrasing because, Bob Arum used other words. Okay, so he says that if Teofimo Lopez would have went the route of Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, or Devin Haney, hence Devin Haney, that would have been a sizzling fight and a big fight that ESPN would have been interested in. But essentially what he's saying is we're not interested in losing money on a George Kambosos Jr. fight, not even 1.25, his minimum. So we'll let him get his minimum on another platform, not here at Top Rank and ESPN. And ESPN, Bob Arum says that ESPN has an $84 million budget yearly with ESPN, but yet ESPN is not looking to put on no money for this fight. Now, when it comes to the IBF, okay, the IBF lets it be known, okay, that Teofimo Lopez, they say that they could have got, meaning Teofimo Lopez, an exemption with us, the IBF, for another fight. When they say so now the IBF is saying this. If they say this is not a good fight, they could have negotiated for another fight and informed us and made a different fight, but they chose not to, end quote. So the IBF is stating that Teofimo Lopez could have informed us. They saying that the fight between George Kambosos Jr., this is what the IBF is saying, that Top Rank and ESPN is saying that this is not a big fight. And so the IBF is saying that if they think, because they paraphrase the words that Bob Arum used, he used other words to describe this fight. So they saying if he don't think it was a good fight, he could have got an exemption, informed us that he wanted an exemption, right, for a pass for a fight. They could have negotiated another fight, made another fight, and had staged that other fight, but they chose to go in a different direction, end quote. That's what the IBF. So the IBF is saying he could have got an exemption, and Teofimo Lopez's manager backs this up by saying that could have been the case as well. Teofimo Lopez's manager reiterates the same thing the IBF says. Mick Walters, he says they had between October 18th and February 6th to schedule a big fight for Teofimo Lopez and get out of this purse bid. They chose not to, because they didn't want this fight. Top Rank at ESPN didn't want this fight with George Kambosos, right? He says they could have got an exemption with the IBF for a different fight. So he's saying the same thing the IBF is saying. So this just goes to show, and Teofimo Lopez and his team, they asked the Top Rank and ESPN for 1.25, his minimum for a George Kambosos fight, when they knew the fight wasn't going to take place in Australia. And the IBF is informed that they had no intention of stripping him if he indeed would have let them know that they wanted to have an interim fight or a fight with Devin Haney. So there you have it. And Devin Haney and Bill Haney on a different platform let it be known that $4 million would get it done. And you had Teofimo Lopez Sr. He agreed, if you give us $4 million, we'll definitely take it. That's what Teofimo Lopez said, okay? Let's listen to what Teofimo Lopez Sr., trainer, father, and manager of Teofimo Lopez had to say. This was a month ago. And listen to what Bill Haney, they're talking about negotiating the fight.
Make it happen, bro. You got your fucking connections. Make it happen. March 2021, can I go get you? Can I go get $4 million from the zone? I'll fight for 4. I told myself he can fight for 21. Stop backpedaling. Like Mark Nash said, we just made the fight happen. Yeah, but if I'm going to make $2 million with your son and I'm going to make $10 million with Kambosos or whatever the fuck his name is in Australia, guess what route would you take?
So he's saying that if I'm going to make $2 million or $4 million with your son and I can make $10 million with George Kambosos, what route are you going to take? So clearly you're not making... See, here's the thing. They had no intentions of fighting Devin Haney from the beginning, because he's saying that if we can make $10 million for George Kambosos, when you know right now you petitioned immediately when it was you was informed that this fight was not going to take place in Australia and this fight was going to take place in a bubble in Las Vegas, that you was only going to get the minimum of 1.25. Why didn't you immediately inform the IBF that you want to go a different route, because you have a bigger, higher profile fight that's going to get you more money on the table with Devin Haney for at least $4 million. $4 million is is 4 times the amount of 1.25, right? Or at least 3 times the amount.
Why would we let go of a $10 million offer to fight somebody else for $2 million?
And I just showed you the documents that let you know that they informed Top Rank and ESPN. Can they get them 1.25, the minimum for George Kambosos? This was Team Lopez. This is what they asked for from. They asked for this from Bob Arum and ESPN. This is what they asked of Bob Arum and the ESPN. You understand? Bob Arum didn't ask for that. Didn't offer that. That's what they asked him for the George Kambosos fight. If you didn't know, I'm gonna read it for you. Here you go. While there's no deal with Kambosos' promoter, Lou DiBella, there's also no agreement with Lopez's manager, David McWater, who wouldn't reach terms with Top Rank on their offer of $1.25 million, the contract minimum, sources said. For the matchup with George Kambosos Jr., the undefeated fighter from Australia, who earned a title shot with the decision win over Lee Selby in October. So, again, I'm going to read it to you again. While there's no deal with Lou DiBella, this means ESPN and Top Rank, they don't have a deal with George Kambosos Jr. promoter Lou DiBella, okay? They don't have a deal in place. There's also no deal in place or agreement with Lopez's team manager, David McWater says, who couldn't reach terms, so meaning that they asked for 1.25. They couldn't reach terms with Top Rank and ESPN on their offer. So they petitioned to get 1.25 from ESPN and Top Rank, right? For a $1.25 million contract minimum for the matchup with George Kambosos Jr., the undefeated fighter from Australia who earned the title shot with the decision win over Lee Selby in October. So if you need me to read it again, I'll do it one more time. They could not reach terms on their offer. Okay? You can see it clear as day. They couldn't reach terms on their offer to Top Rank, okay? To Top Rank and ESPN. So that was the offer that Teofimo Lopez brought to the table to Bob Arum and ESPN for them to promote this fight with George Kambosos Jr. There you have it. But Teofimo Lopez Sr. is saying that they're making an offer for $10 million. The point is, Teofimo Lopez Jr., Teofimo Lopez Sr. are not confident that they can beat Devin Haney. This is an official undisputed match where there is no doubt. You can close the door in this situation. You leave no doubt. But in return, right, they pretended as if they had no choice but to fight the IBF mandatory challenger George Kambosos, when the IBF indeed in return stated that they did not have to fight George Kambosos. They could have asked for an exemption. So there you have it. They chose not to fight Devin Haney because they don't like the style matchup. That's all I got for y'all. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.